Bite Size Law, happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. The subject we're going to quickly discuss today, which is quite in depth, so it's only literally to get you to look at it to see if it's something that you might need to do, revolves around family court and children, and obviously the children's competence. It's called the Gillick competency test, so the Gillick test. Basically, if your child is Gillick competent, it should have a say in what happens. You know, whether it wants to see the other parent, the non-custodial parent. Basically, it's when a kid has got a good idea of what it wants to do, what's best for it, what's in its best interests. So have a look at the Gillick test. That is the test of competency. Now, from memory, about 12 years old is the sort of like the starting point of competency for a child. It's quite funny because from 10 years old, a child is held criminally responsible. So they're responsible enough to know, hundreds of thousands of laws, but not sometimes competent enough to work out if they want to see the non-custody parent, the parent without the custody. So the Gillick test, it's there's Fraser guidelines as well, and it come about from, I think, a 1985 case where about a kid deciding whether or not he wanted medical treatment, whatever else. Now the Gillick test, like most things, can be discarded by the judge in a family court case, because in a family court case that they can pretty much do what they want. They've got no one can really hold them to account, because you can't go to the press, you can't make things public. If you get shafted in there, you've got to keep your mouth shut, otherwise they'll get you for contempt of court and can put you in prison. But if your child is asking for to the visitation, or if your child wants something and they are clued up enough to be able to make their own decisions, and please remember, you get some 10-year-olds that are far more clued up than some 14-year-olds, so it does depend on the child. The Gillick test, or Gillick competence, is what you need to be looking at. If you're representing yourself, they probably won't tell you anything about this, and what should happen is that a medical professional, whatever that is the person that should be able to determine whether the child is Gillick competent. So it was the Gillick case in 1985, 86, something like that. But have a look at the Gillick competency test and the Fraser guidelines. Those are what basically gives your child a little bit of sway in a family court. But saying that, if you've got a let's put inadequate judge, or they've got something against you, the court system, the establishment, they can do what they pretty much want in the family court. That's why I've got not a lot of faith in family courts. So look up the Gillick test, Gillick competency test, and see whether or not it's going to be worth using that to try and get what's best for your child, rather than just what all the vulturous professionals want. And the other thing that comes into this is, if you do ask for the child to be made Gillick competent, then they might well say, right, well, you pay for a professional to do that, which is something that might cost you hundreds, maybe thousands, because that's when all of the professional vultures start jumping on you, and literally they will take every penny you've got. And the person that pays for the expert is usually the person that benefits from their opinion, because obviously, unless there's a real massive problem, if you're paying for the information, it's probably going to be the information that they'll give you. So be careful of whose expert is used and stuff like that, and who's paying for that expert. Hope this helps. Happy May the 4th.